Hello everybody. You should have already read the Slavin article because this exercise is going to build from the Slavin article to the Hattie video. And you should be watching this video before you watch the Hattie video. And don't go ahead and watch the Hattie video because you're going to have to do something with this first. So sequence is Slavin article, this video, answer a question, and then watch the Hattie video. Alright. So the Slavin article ended with Slavin making the point that you could find research to prove just about anything in education. And Slavin is generally very critical about educational research and wants it to be much more stringent, much more rigorous. And so you could easily take his point to be that you could find anything to prove anything because it's all so bad that people manipulate data to the way they want to do it. And that certainly is an interpretation that maybe is consistent with Slavin's views. I'm not really sure. But there is another interpretation, and that's what I'm going to give you in this video. And that is that everything that is studied in educational research has a positive effect. And that's the argument that Hattie's going to make. Now, Hattie takes that a step further. He says, yes, everything has a positive effect, or almost everything. There actually are some negative effect items. But almost everything has a positive effect. But some things have a much bigger positive effect than other things. Okay? And he has done what is called meta-analytic work to figure out which things are the big effect things and which are the small effect things. And his argument is we should be paying attention to the big effect things. So there's several reasons that I want you to be aware of this research, and we're going to dig into it as the semester goes on. But one of them is when you're trying to decide on research that you're going to do, you should have a sense or an understanding from the big picture perspective of which things are likely to be important and which things are likely to not be important. That may influence you to decide to research those things that are more important, or it may influence you to at least understand the arguments that someone would make about why a particular area would be presumed not to be important. All right, that sounded confusing even when I said it, so I hope it made sense to you. All right, so what I'm going to do in this exercise is preview some things from Hattie's video. And I'm going to present 5 choices of types of things. I'm going to ask you to guess which one is predicted to be the most important and which is the least important. So I've got a bunch of different research ideas grouped in categories according to whether they're going to be high or low as a group. All right, first choice. Things like summer school, school finances, whether you go to a religious school or a non-religious school, class size, etc. All right? So in your mind, start thinking, is this a big effect? Are these big effect items or small effect items? Choice 2. Teachers working together as evaluators of their own impact. Reminds me of SLOs. The power of moving from what students know now towards explicit success criteria. Really good assessment techniques. Errors and trusts are welcome as opportunities to learn. Maximize feedback to teachers about their impact. Sounds like the Danielson framework. Getting the proportions of surface to deep correct, and the Goldilocks principle of challenge and deliberate practice to attain these challenges. All right? So choice 2 is a lot of good teaching things. Choice 3. Now our program has technology as one of its main themes. So this is a possible choice for high effect or maybe low effect. Computers and mathematics, computers and science, computers in small groups, computers and distance learning, web-based learning. Are these kind of things big effect, small or small effect? Choice 4. All kinds of factors associated with students, whether their parents are divorced or remarried, personality type of the child, gender of the child. Okay? And last choice is sort of similar to the other choice about teaching, but this is more about teaching techniques. So inquiry-based methods, do those, when they're implemented by teachers, result in more learning at a high level? Programmed instruction, individualized instruction, etc. You can see the list. Alright, so what I want you to do is to go onto D2L. Don't watch the Hattie video, don't cheat, don't look at the Hattie site. I just want you to guess. It's kind of fun to see if your guess is going to be right about which one of these choices is the high effect choice and which one of these choices is not so important. Right? Now, I sort of introduced why we're doing this, but let me tell you that this little exercise previews 3 things that we're going to do in the class this semester. One is the little bit of work we're going to do with statistics. We're not going to go real far, but we are going to do standard deviation. And Hattie's method of calculating all this is very reliant on the idea of standard deviation. So we're going to look at standard deviation and extend that into the concept of effect size so you can measure how important a study is. The second thing is, what is an appropriate research question to be asking? So if we already know that certain things are not very important in terms of their educational impact, that would be a nice thing to know before you go down that road. Or if you did, you know, what you would have to take into account with your research. And the third thing that we're going to get into more in the second week of the class, but the third thing is, what is an appropriate kind of question for an educational leader to be asking? So there might be some research questions and some approaches to research that are appropriate for researchers to do, but maybe there's a shorter list or a smaller list within that of things that make sense for school leaders to do. So that's the exercise, but for now it's just a good kind of game of let's guess and see what you come up with, and I'm hoping there'll be some surprises. So if you guess wrong, don't feel bad. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. Alright, I'm going to see you guys all on Sunday, and when you come, make sure you bring your white papers and your power papers, and we're going to be building from those this semester, so I'm going to need you to have those in class and preferably probably on a notebook computer. See you guys on Sunday.